we are writing out second essay now. Now this subject is somewhat, we can say, dreamlike subject. Imaginary part is also there, but for that purpose knowledge is also required. Here we are making out a simple essay. We are trying to frame that simple way. That is, dream of independent economy of India. I am revising name. That is the dream of Indian independent economy of India. Number one, we have to split out subject. That what is economy? Then what is independent economy? Then what is the economy of India? Whether it will be independent or not. That is, dream will come into reality or not. And like that, we have to split out the subject. Subject looks like simple. But if you enter, you will get that we are discussing out almost all the economics part over here. For you, it must be clear that I am not from economic background. But still, with my knowledge, I am going to explain this essay. If you are graduate or postgraduate in economics, then it's all right. You can shape out this essay in more nice way. But still, we are going on certain details. Say why I am specifying here my knowledge, because say a particular person is from particular background. Say for example, now I am from science background. I can understand concept of science easily. But if you are not from science background, then you are thinking it as if it is first time you are hearing, and then you can ask more queries. That means non-science person can ask more queries in science. Same way, here I am from non-economics background, and still we are going to solve, or we are going to write some essay. We are preparing at least. So first thing, I am clearing, this is our just second essay in this discussion, that is dream of independent economy of India. The first thing, certain questions. Before starting out essay, I am preparing certain background for this essay. And obviously certain questions I must ask over here. That first question, whether world economy, or say India in old days, forget about the world, whether India was dependent on foreign nations in old days. When we don't have knowledge of America continent according to given history. There are certain arguments that there were contacts of India and America in old days, that Inca culture was there, Mayan culture was there, but we don't have practical evidence according to present knowledge of history. So question is obviously there, that if you don't have that knowledge, then whether America is surviving or not. As dollar was not existing, still Indian economy was there. No doubt, certain impacts were there, but they are not that prominent in old days if you look out, as if they are. So first thing is very clear, that in ancient period, India was there, but Indian economy was not depending upon America. That properly I am speaking USA. Now, second, at that time also we were carrying out trade with foreign. For example, during Satwahan rule, there was trade with Roman Empire. So no doubt, the survival of Roman Empire played important role in stability of Satavahan rule, or at that time India. But on decline of Roman Empire, the trade also decreased, and that was having some impact on Indian economy. So as long as possible, if you trace back, you will get that for nearly 5,000 years, Indian economy is depending upon, I'm not saying depending, but some part we can say relying on foreign trade. If you trace back till Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, then also we have evidences that certain seals, we are not saying coins, but seals, we found in Bahari. And that same seals were found in Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. That means what? The Indus Valley civilization was also involved in trade. Now obviously, for each and every nation, trade is necessary. But why? Certain things we can produce in our nation, but certain things we not. Say for example, different minerals. Many times these minerals are present, but we don't want to use them. We are keeping our resources intact and purchasing from outside. May be possible. Like that incidents are there, and ultimately trade is required. You can check out, particularly with respect to China. When British ambassador visited China for trade, at that time Chinese emperor, they were called as Manchu dynasty or Manchu ruler. They opposed that according to their consideration, everything in world is there in China. If you want something, you can carry out trade with China, only you can exchange out silver in terms of Chinese goods. Why Chinese emperor was able to speak with Britishers in this way? You have to think this question. I am just giving you certain points because yet we have not started out our essay. Just think that with whatever points I am focusing here, you will find that India was carrying out trade with other nations. The Satavahan dynasty, you are aware, they were carrying out trade with Indonesia. That means they were purchasing out spices from Indonesia and used to trade to Roman Empire. So this way, certain trade was obviously going on from ancient period. Now, our ancestors were not able to do. Can we do? India is having abundant resources. What is the fact that in present world or present time, Indians are lacking in some fundamental research? The research work should be concentrated more and more. Then the necessity of foreign trade will decrease. Obviously, we can't produce petrol. For that purpose, our dependence is there. You may say there is Bombay High. You may say there is other mines also. Oil wells are there. You may say that we can depend on nuclear power plant and what not. But still, as long as petrol is required, whatever petrol obtained, oil obtained from Indian sites, it is not that sufficient for the need of Indians. About trade with other nation? Because question is asked that there is only one nation, America, to trade. No, other nations are also there. We have to increase that trade. Yes, certainly. But what are the requirements of other nations and how they can pay you back? That is important. Now, first thing that we have to check out whether it is possible to establish independent economy, and then we can discuss all other things. So let us start out now writing out essay. Before starting out this essay, we can make a rough draft how we are going. Obviously, the first point, now we are writing out our first para, that is intro, where we have to state what is economy, what is independent economy, and whether it is possible or not. We have to check. Now, in case of second para, we are making point. Try to recollect or otherwise observe our first lecture where we discussed that there should be minimum 3 para. The first para, that is introduction, second is description, and last is conclusion for essay. Minimum 3 para. But when we are writing out essay at 3000 word, we are splitting out description point. Now first, we are splitting out now description point here. And for that purpose, I must suggest here. The first point, you can talk about ancient period. So, we are starting with first point, that is ancient period, where you can say that in case of India, now we are focusing particularly with India. So, in case of India, our trade was not depending on USA. You may ask again that why we are taking name of USA again and again. Because we are talking in terms of dollars. Whenever we are talking of exchange rate, we are considering dollar again and again. And now, in present day, USA is the biggest economy. We have to compare, we have to trade. So, I am taking name of USA again and again. But forget of that. In old days, whether we were depending on other nation, particularly for this economic part that we are discussing here, and you may give references here from Indus Valley civilization first, that we got seals in Bahrain, Syria, that seals were found in Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, indicating that there was some trade between these civilizations, ancient civilizations. So you can go by this way. Then onwards, as we observe the Persian Empire, then Greece, that is the Hellenic world also, and ultimately Roman Empire, they were trading with India in old days from western side. From eastern side also, trade was much more developed. During entire history, till modern history period, or I can say somewhere around 1498, when Vasco da Gama arrived in this India, Calicut. Till that period, Indian trade was flourished from both eastern part as well as western part. And that's why, if you consider carefully the empires, many emperors in India tried to occupy both Gujarat as well as Bengal. These two states are really required for international trade. Bengal from eastern side and Gujarat for western side. If you think, check out why Somnath was plundered. obviously tremendous wealth was accumulated in Somnath. From where that wealth was accumulated? From these traders. They used to carry out trade from Gujarat port. Particularly the Verawal was the port, and Somnath temple is near Verawal. So this trade was going on from ancient period. That means it is sure shot we have knowledge that with trade we got prosperity. So economical prosperity is depending upon the foreign trade. Now question is that what was the object we were trading out? Say not only raw materials. Yeah, to certain level it is alright. But in old days, India was trading out finished goods. India was very good in metallurgy. The weapons produced in old days by India, early weapons made of Indian metal, Indian steel, many times it is called as wood steel, that were exported, and even in crusades these weapons were used. Now this is the answer, that Indian trade was flourished, that not only primary sector, you are aware that different sectors are there. Primary sector means what? We are taking raw material from nature. Secondary, that we are carrying out processes, and third is trade. So only primary sector trade was not there. We were carrying out finished good trade also. Yeah, primary trade was also there. For example, different spices we were using. We were carrying out trade with handicraft. What are the material we have? Chemicals, medicines and whatnot. This finished good trade played important role, and the intake of gold in India was increased. So this will be our actually second para, that what kind of trade we were carrying out in old days. Third thing, what was the role of Indian traders? Trading is we are calling as third sector, tertiary sector. So here, what was the role of Indian traders particularly? Whether all Romans were coming to India for trade, wherefore Arabs were came to India, or Indian traders were visiting this outside nation. We found answer in history that Indian traders were were going for trade outside India. Try to recollect or observe history lecture again. When Vasco da Gama visited India, he was informed the route of India by Gujarati traders from Africa. That means the Gujarati traders were there in Africa first, and then Portuguese arrived over there. So Indians were engaged in trade from old days. Now this is giving prosperity for Indian economy. But this is depending or independent. Now we are making out here a small discussion. What is independent and what is dependent? So the independent and dependent. Now say for example, let us take small example of shopkeeper. Shopkeeper we can consider as trader. He is depending upon customers, but he is not depending upon single customer. Say suppose in a day 100 customers are visiting out, and if one person or one customer is not able to visit, then the trade will not affect much. No doubt, what amount of trade, purchase was carried out by these 100 persons, that is important. If 99 persons were purchasing out goods of 50,000 rupees and that one person is going to purchase 5,000 rupees, then certainly it is going to affect to certain level. And therefore we are considering that the different nations are also important in Indian trade. Now, whether that trader is dependent upon customer or not, answer is that yes, but not on single customer. He is depending upon many customers at a time. So same way, it is very difficult if that fellow want to carry out trade and he want that there should not be dependency on customer, then overall number of customers should be very large. Like that happened in Mumbai particularly. Because I am taking example, I am from Mumbai, yes, but it is big market. You may have continuous shops of say ready-made shirts or pants. 10-15 shops are there continuously. Number of customers are very high in terms of lakhs. Out of that, each shop is not getting that lakh customer, but at least 1,000 customers are going to visit, and out of that 100 customers are going to purchase out. So like that, if situation is there, then there is no problem that we are saying practically according to our chemistry concept, chemical kinetics, that we are not depending entirely upon customers. Minor here and there that can be adjustable. But wherever number of countries, no doubt they are less than 200s. And so it is definitely depending. So here we are discussing independent or not. The answer is we are depending for trade when there is question of intake of money. But can we remove this? Answer is we have to check out. Suppose I don't want to carry out trade. Let us take example that we are making boundaries intact and we don't want to go outside that boundaries. Is it possible? Write down next para. Number one, we have to find out first what is material we are list of material what is we are going to import and what is the list of material we are going to export. You will find that many machineries, electronic goods, in case of finished product we are importing, and that's why we require trade. If we are able to produce them inside our country, then that means in order to get independent economy, the first thing should be there that the modern industrialization should be there. Not only industrialization, but modern industrialization should be there. Now this is basic difference between India and Pakistan. In case of Pakistan, their economy is depending upon only farming, maximum level. But in India, we have industrial sector. But still, that should be increased to greater extent. But that is the meaning that we are decreasing out people from farming or other businesses, because we have definite manpower. Touch wood, India's manpower is increasing. So can we utilize that manpower in industrial sector? In order to develop industrial sector, we require tremendous investment. Can we call foreign companies? Yes, but meaning is that we are depending upon outside. That means for investment, we have to invest from whatever we have. It's difficult? No. Just check out the amount of gold present in everybody's house. just check out the amount of gold that is there in temples. Certain people may definitely ask me question, why you are observing only temples and why not mosques and churches and all that. Yeah, that is true. But we can check out this also. The person, when giving donation to this, any, say whether it is church, mosque or temple, that should be charged something like tax, plus tax. That means, or a certain procedure should be made so that this type of dead investment is not dead. Say originally, I have to say here, Hinduism or whatever that Vedicism, Jainism, Buddhism, all these indigenous religions, they are against accumulation of wealth. Try to recollect the Panchashila from Buddhism, 5 great oaths from Jainism, and 5 yama given by Patanjali. In that we have important consideration. Try to recollect Satya, that means truth, Asteya, non-stealing, Ahimsa, non-violence, Aparigraha. This is not to store more than your requirement. So this type of options are there. Now you are aware that different banks are there. They are dealing with that. Can we increase out the interest rate? This is important because our inflation rate and interest rate should vary with great number, not just by margin and margin. Then only people may be interested in investing in banks and not in gold. So this passage is really playing important, yet we are not going for any conclusion here, but we are considering that the accumulation of wealth should be avoided. Maximum wealth must be in flow, or another chance is there. Can we call certain this type of institutions like temples, mosques, churches, whatsoever, to invest in industries? So we are not vesting out, we are investing out. The benefits are given to that temple or that church, whatever. So this way we can discuss this point in detail here. I am now changing out new paragraph here, that can we make this type of arrangement. Now go back in history, in Hitler's rule particularly. He allowed industrialists present, that means if they are investing out certain amount for new industry development, then they will get certain tax benefits. So we can make this type of arrangement that certain industrialization process should be made easier. What is the problem in India? As we are having clear-cut idea that socialism and people health etc. we are considering. I'm not saying not to be considered, but as we are considering, we are having different acts, the Daily Wages Act. Then while establishing any industry, we have to take so many permissions. Ask permission. The industrialization is not that encouraged. It is not everybody's cup of tea. This is only the one who is having wealth, strong. Then now certain banks are there, they are providing good loans, but this should be encouraged. And further thing, our approach in education should be there. Okay, we are coming to point that. So I am summarizing here because I hope that some ideas I am presenting in front of you, you have to write down that and make arrangement proper afterwards. But we are revising. In first para we discuss about independent economy of India. We are discussing whether it is dream or we are coming to conclusion that this dream we can take to reality. In second para we start out ancient Indian trade and trying to establish the connection that there should be any independent economy was working in India. But as our answer is there that from Mohenjo-daro and Harappa onwards, that means what from Indus Valley civilization onwards, our records are saying that we don't have independent economy. We are trading with outside world. That means it is necessary part. Now we are discussing about how to stop out that. Only option is that in order to establish independent economy, we have to stop out whatever we are importing. Can we manufacture this thing in our nation? And that's why we are focusing on industrialization. Now next paragraph we are discussing that in order to establish industry, tremendous investment is required. The capital required is at high. And therefore we are saying that from where we can obtain this capital. And obvious answer is there, whatever the wealth is accumulated in religious organizations, institutions. Now next para, how we can take out that dead investment outside. And for that purpose we are searching on different options that we have to establish certain laws so that the benefits will be given to investment. Try to recollect. When India was having different princely state, and while dissolving that princely state, it was clear that after dissolution of that princely state in India, no special benefits will be given to the ruler. And that's why there was a problem in dissolution. It was somewhat critical, particularly Kashmir, Junagadh and Hyderabad. In this princely state, some problem was there. Instead of that, if you guaranteed these organizations that whatever you are going to invest, the share, simply it is in form of share. Whatever the number of your shares, they are benefited. Then, now this way we can raise fund. The second rise of fund we are focusing, that is from black money present in India. Now this is sensitive, critical point, but we have to discuss. What is the black money? If you are aware, the money which we are not able to show, that is black money. Say for example, I am discussing here, particularly openly we are going to discuss. Suppose somebody want to purchase a home. In case of Mumbai, again, 1 crore is ordinary price of home. On purchase of home, we have to pay different taxes. We may call it as stamp duty, registration charges, then VAT and whatnot. They are all based on your cost of home. So, if I am selling my house at 1 crore rupees, but I am showing that I am going to sell at 50 lakh rupees, then whatever remaining 50 lakhs, that is black money. Can we make certain arrangement? That means we have to now enter in taxation department. Many many taxes are charged, they are just theoretical. Practically, these departments are not thinking out before levying out this charge. And then people are having tendency to save tax, and for that purpose they are not showing. The same thing is there in many cases. Income tax is best example. Next topic, you have to search and write down that whether income tax is really required or not by government. Service tax newly added, whether it is really required or not. Ultimately, government is having right to charge certain taxes on people, those who are using certain services. Say for example, as long as I am not using road for transport, there is no question that I should pay tax for road. But suppose I am purchasing out a vehicle, then road tax is essential. If I am traveling from that road, then toll tax is essential. But if I am not, then these taxes are not essential. There will be certain taxes are there. They are essential. Certain taxes, they are not required. Try to get history of income tax. I don't have that knowledge, but I remember only thing that some war was there in England and therefore they levied income tax. And later on, as we are slaves of Britishers, I am particularly saying are, because right now also I am speaking in English. So as we are slaves of Britishers and we are making copies of that, so that income tax continued. What is the worst part of tax? That it is easy to charge a tax, but once that tax is charged, that is not abolished immediately. Many years that tax continued. That is like example of service tax, sales tax and other taxes. Can we have unified system of tax? Check out. So next para should be there. So we are shifting out, say this essay is not a simple essay. Now we are shifting out from independent economy to industrialization. From industrialization, the problem of taxation, because we required wealth, money for the industry. And in order to get that capital, we have to think of black money. And what is black money? In finding out that answer, we entered in taxation part. Many times, say what is particularly it's joke, but many times this happen practically. What is conference? It is wrongly saying, but yes, the confusion present in one's mind is transmitted to all other minds. That is called as conference. The arrangement made in such a way that one's confusion is transferred to all other. So like that, we are working out. This is our requirement. We are temporarily finding out solution, and for that purpose different taxes are levied. We can check out the taxation system and try to find out a simple answer. No taxation system or revenue system worked perfectly. If you check out history, Alauddin Khilji, great administrator, but he was not able to set out proper revenue system. At the most, Sher Shah Suri was able to work out certain good revenue system. But that is also not giving 100% guarantee about 100% good revenue. Corruption is there in government, was there in government, and I hope will remain in government. According to Chanakya, now say corruption is so old. Many people are saying corruption is gift of some one political party in India, but no. Before existence of that political party, corruption was there in India, in the world rather. According to Chanakya, Suppose on tip of your tongue, honey is placed and you are asked not to test out that honey. Is it possible? So this is the position of government worker. Properly, authorities in government, they are tend to carry out corruption. This is not my word, according to Chanakya. For more reference, you can check out Arthashastra written by Chanakya. And therefore, it is obvious that certain black money will be there from corruption. I can't do anything about that. But I can surely do to improve taxation system. What is the best idea? That we have to assign certain fixed taxes on people, on organization, arbitrarily. We can assign that taxes. We have to work out that. Say for example, a particular industry is set up. Industry is there, that means that is carrying out trade. Whether overseas trade or not, that is not question. But industry is there, that means that is carrying out certain trade. So, certain road tax should be fixed on that industry. Same way, for advertising purpose, government should provide a nice advertising channel that will minimize the cost of advertising. Because say I am observing particular X channel, you are observing Y channel, that another person is observing Z channel. The advertiser must advertise in all these three channels. That is wastage of money. Ultimately we are going to pay for that advertise. So instead of that, make this type of advertisement. Then we have government's role in taxation, but in order to get more tax, we can plan out another system which will be very easy. Say for example, a particular industry is there. Initially for the establishment, we are making them tax free. First 3 years, this is carried out by Chanakya. Particularly for establishment of villages, that for first 3 years the villagers will not charge anything. So same way we can do that, industry no taxation for 3 years, and then onwards we have to fix certain amount of tax irrespective of your business. That whatever you are carrying out trade, if your turnover is above million or about billion or about trillion, we don't have any objection. That means that money will become white. That can be shown. Same thing about income tax department and what not. We have to make something that no tax is not possible, but tax should be charged in this way. Say for example, our railway ticket. Railway is government running project. So instead of charging out tax directly from people like income tax and other, we can hike the railway ticket. That means there is no question of corruption. Directly we can take tax from these services. The water service, we can levy tax on that water services. Two important things will happen. First, there is no chance of excuse. And second, people will realize the importance of water. Like that, we have to think, and making taxation system simpler, that will raise white money, and that can be invested in industry. We are now coming to point. So in order to increase industrialization, question is there, what is the source of capital? And we are finding out source within ourselves, in India only. Now secondly, corruption. We don't have answer for that. But what happened to that money? Say for example, some scam is there. In that scam, it is said that some 1,000 crore rupees scam is there. What happened to that 1,000 crore rupees? Or can we charge out some scheme like declare your wealth, what is today with you? We will charge some 10% tax on that and be free. Or like that scheme should be there. Many times these schemes are declared. But this is specially we have to design for politicians. We are not going to ask till today how you accumulate. And we have to make arrangement that corruption in India should be minimized. I am not saying completely abolish. Yeah, chances are there. We can abolish that also. Because in modern days, technology is advanced. So we are making next paragraph to abolish corruption or minimize corruption, what efforts we can do. That is again depending on technology. And we have to check whether it is really important. Because in order to save 100 rupees, if you are implementing instrument of 10,000 rupees, then there is no use. But where there is problem of 1,000 crore rupees and we can save by implementing certain instrument, then it is possible. The best example that CCTV cameras. In world of internet, computers and data transfer systems, it is easily possible for a ruler to monitor the business going on in every office. Even roads, traffic police and what not, we can control with help of camera. And this way we can minimize the corruption. The software development is really important from that point. No doubt, maybe possible some measures will carry out in that software also, loopholes will be find out, but that is different. We have to make arrangement that everything should be there in software. That is, instead of putting paper file, initially we have to pass out everything on software. That means we are depending less on bureaucracy. Now you are preparing for bureaucracy exam and we are now saying that we are depending less on bureaucracy, but yes, for betterment of country, if you are able to do that, then we can. And this is the way we can accumulate wealth which is present in India, and then that we can enter in process of industrialization. Now more work. Now next para, we have to focus on education system. The present day, whatever education system we have, that is not encouraging for research work. I am a teacher and I am a science teacher. I am aware the way practicals are carried out in colleges. Without getting idea what we are doing, students are following and they are getting marks. This system should be changed. The system should be such that research work should be encouraged. The education is no doubt not supporting to that level. If you are aware, that many competitive exams are there from school level. But how many students are aware of these exams? So we have to make arrangement that research attitude of people should develop. Mentality of people should be changed, because this change in mentality is important. Then, with evidence, say many science students, they are still believing in certain magicians, or these people we are calling as Baba, and that what we can say black magic and all that. That means we are not studying science thoroughly. We are getting marks but not studying out properly. The education system should be changed. Then we can create the person having research oriented attitude. That is the important thing. And now, with that, we are having now team. That means we will develop this team of research person. So industrialization, then research process, that means R&D department will be developed, and then we can produce goods. Now we have to check out the level of industrialization. That means whether we are producing goods for Indians only or we are selling for outsiders. Because once we are having knowledge, we can sell it in outside world. But this is trading, not dependency on outside world. Because whatever our needs, they are present in India. Because we have now, say after this development, we'll have nice industrialization sector developed. And second, that is there in India, that is farming sector. That agriculture is there. We have sufficient rainfall. Already we have constructed various dams, then different water harvesting systems we have. We can increase out that. We can plant out more trees. That is for food production. Usually, what is the basic idea that when we are carrying out social forestry, one should grow the fruit-bearing trees. That means the edible fruit should be there for that tree. In areas where less water is there, we can plant dead trees, khajur. That is important because that can survive in desert. So why not in India? Particularly, except Rajasthan, that desert part, other parts of India, we can survive. We can increase the amount of this dead production. So this way, we are focusing on two sectors basically, that is the industrial sector and agricultural sector. That means for Indians, there will be abundance food available, as well as in industrial work also we are growing. That will result in almost independent structure. And then we can carry out trade, that is the surplus. But for that purpose, whether this system is there, whatever the ruling system is there, governing system is there, that is sufficient or not, that is another. Some changes must be made in this political system also. We have to check about the present mode of ruling, and we have to make arrangement. Now second part, that is, can we increase the surplus? Answer is yes. India is having very good place of touring. Historical places, they are present in India. From ancient period till modern period, we have different historical places. Different geographical wonders are present in India. The best, Himalaya. And apart from that, various mountain ranges, hill stations we have. Different types of rivers. We have to promote out all this. We have to encourage the system so that the outsiders should enter here for tourism purpose. And that will generate more revenue such that the requirement of taxation should decrease. And with no tax or minimization of tax, people can survive. So we have to focus on this tourism sector also. You can write down about tourism there. And now next important point we are focusing here, that is whether government should enter in the service area, particularly in order to establish these industries. We have to think over this and write down in an essay that arrangement should be made like this, that government should take over certain projects at its own account. Right now only heavy investment projects are taken up by government, but other projects also should be considered by government. Tourism industry is best example, whether if government is undertaking that entirely and run it properly, professionally, then this sector will increase. So this way we are making out certain ideas. Now certain data you have to collect. Data number 1 you are going to collect, that is about taxation. What is the income tax collected in particular year? And what is the expenses of government to collect that tax? Try to find out this data. Because apart from that, many other people are also involved. In order to maintain this record, there is accountant, CA, whatnot. All this machinery from every industry is working out. And that is the unnecessarily, we are wasting out the power. But this we can say only after getting data. So it's your role to check out whether we are going to get this data and interpret that in your essay. So these are the basic ideas. And now by hearing out that, you can prepare your own essay, you can add out your own ideas. If you are from economic background, then obviously you can write down this essay in more better manner than person like me. So just try to write down this essay, make it fine, and then again purify it. That you have to write this essay twice, as we are discussing first time also. That first write down certain points, then elaborate that point, then conclude. Now here conclusion is important. What is my conclusion here? That this is dream, but this dream can come in reality. I am not saying it is coming in reality. Can come in reality if the proper efforts are carried out. Otherwise, dream will remain dream. So this way we can conclude this.